constructed pile of nonsense. Hi, welcome welcome back to the channel. My name is Sarah and today is my weekly wrap up for the last week of February and the first day of March. I have four books to talk about with you today. Yes, 4 books to talk about with you. And I thought I'd do a little mini library haul because I am very excited about the library books that I got this Monday. So let's just get right into it. So the first thing that I finished was The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien, which is probably the 3rd or 4th time that I've read this. I've honestly lost count at this point. Read this several times as a young teen, just because, you know, it was a classic fantasy. I thought I had to read the classics, but it is good. I do love it. I do think that if you have an interest in like the fantasy classics, the like important fantasies, if you're gonna call them that, this would be an interesting one to pick up. It's one that at this point is so ingrained in the culture that you probably know the plot to it. So I won't summarize it. I clearly enjoyed it. 5-star. I will say it definitely has its flaws. We have a common critique is the lack of women. I don't know that we had but like 1 or 2 lines from a female character, which is fine. It's fine. My 2 takeaways from this read through, having seen the movies several times at this point, is that they made Galadriel did talk quite a bit, so I take that back. She did have quite a few lines. They made Galadriel scarier in the movies than I felt she was in the book, and they made Boromir much more sympathetic in the movies. And frankly, you know what? Boromir can jump off a bridge and die. You know, and it's a good thing he does, because I can't stand this little, I'm gonna toot my horn, toot toot toot, in the Elflands, and be all like, don't tell me what to do, Elrond. And I'm just like, why do we gotta be that though? Why you gotta be like that though? Why you gotta be like that, Boromir? Why you gotta talk back to everybody and think you know better than the elves? He acts like, you know what? Boromir deserved to die. Just gonna go out on a limb and say it. I'm not a Boromir stan. Don't like him. Don't like him. Don't like him. So that's it for my Fellowship of the Ring thoughts. Also, I continue to be a Samwise Gamgee stan. He is great in the book. He was great in the movies. Samwise is where it's at. Sam is the winner. Boromir is not. Boromir deserved it. So, short, sweet. Like I said, everybody knows about Fellowship of the Rings. 3rd, 4th read through. Still a great book. I'm very much looking forward to continuing the series again. And hopefully finally getting through the Silmarillion for the 2nd time sometime in the future, because that is a rough one to get through. And maybe picking up a few of the other newer ones. Children of Hurin is another one that his son finished. That's one of my favorites. And I would like to reread that. I've only read that once, and I would like to reread that and see how it stands up after going through the whole original series again. So we'll see. The next one I read was... Yes. Hold on. I lied. The next one I read was not this one. It was We Deserve Monuments by, I think their name is Jazz Hammonds. And this was an absolutely incredible YA novel about a young girl who is going back to her mother's hometown with her mother and her father to take care of her dying grandmother. Her grandmother has terminal cancer and doesn't have long to live, and they're there to sort of ease her last days, possibly, you know, make reconciliations, that sort of thing. There is a lot of buried history between her grandmother and her mother. There is a lot of tension under the surface, and when she gets there, she finds that tension is not just restricted to her mother and grandmother, but it's throughout the whole town. The whole town with her mother, the whole town with her grandmother, and there is a lot there. There is a ton to unpack in this book, and it's so well done. I think I saw that this is their debut novel, and if that is the case, I am following everything they write from here forward, because this was incredible. It looks a lot at generational trauma, how that's passed down from like mother to daughter to daughter, and how something buried in the past so long ago can have repercussions all the way up into the future, and what that can mean for people that are seemingly unrelated. It's looking a lot at, you know, how sometimes things don't get solved and things don't get the resolutions they deserve, and how people live with that and how they don't. And at the end of it, no one is perfect. Everyone has flaws and makes bad decisions and hurts other people because they're hurt. And whoa, there was more than a few occasions that this book had me almost in tears. And in the end, the final like reveals that we get had me like, I was sitting outside reading that day, and I was sitting there going like, up until the last like 10 pages. My biggest and only real complaint on this one is that and this is a complaint that I could have with many YAs and YA romances, is that the characters had that whole, oh, we're going to be together forever, we're only 17 and this is our perfect soulmate romance. That's it. That's my only complaint. They're going to grow up, things are going to be different, people are going to change, they may be together forever, and the chances are high that they're not, and that's okay. So, only real complaint there is the romance. Got a little weird and heavy at the end, but gosh, everything else was beautiful, and I can't recommend this enough. I super recommend it if you enjoy like contemporary, sometimes hard-hitting YA. Fantastic. This is a great example of, I think, what the genre can do, what that age bracket can do, because a lot of YA is, and I hear this thrown around a lot, but it's true, a lot of YA is written for adults, not for the audience that it's supposed to be for. Sometimes I feel like thinking of one author in particular, but this one I feel like in the hands of young adults, it can really make somebody think, and I really liked it. So great book, 5 stars. Read a lot of 5 stars this week. In fact, I think everything I read I would quantify as a very high 4 or a 5, so this was a good week. And moving on to the middle grade book that I read, which also I think is great for its age bracket and in its target audience's hands could really like teach kids a lot, is Front Desk by Kelly Yang, and this is so good. I knew it would be good. I've heard a lot about it. I follow the author online and I really like her. And it, you know, it's award-winning, that sort of thing. I just didn't quite expect it to hit me so hard. Maybe I've just been in the imperfect emotional state for things to be like, boom, you're crying now. I don't know. But this one did. This one also made me tear up a few times. This one also made me furious at more than a few turns. So this is the story of Mia, and Mia is the daughter of immigrants. They have come to China. She's like, how old is she? She's 10 years old. She's 10 years old. So they moved to China, I think, when she was 9 or 10, so she hasn't been here long. Her parents have, in the beginning, are living, I think, if I remember right, out of their car, and they get a job working at a hotel as the front desk managers. And she actually starts working at the front desk itself while her parents clean the hotel, because the terms of their employment are that the hotel can never be left alone and someone has to be on the front desk, and they do all of the cleaning, everything like that. And the amount of guests they check in directly correlates to their paycheck, which is a whole other discussion. And this looks a lot at how immigrants are treated in America, how people take advantage of immigrants. It also shines a lens on a lot of racism, even within the immigrant community, against other immigrants and against Black people in America. And it's just, dang, this book doesn't pull its punches. And the part that really gets me is at the end. There's several little sections at the end with the author, and she talks about how she, this is based a lot on her life, her early life, how she worked in a lot of hotels, motels, whatever you want to call them, with her parents. She's also the daughter of immigrants. They came over when she was young, and a lot of these stories are based off stories that she had from growing up, and it's just, you could see this stuff happening, and she shines a lens on it and puts it in a way that I think for a young reader would be super impactful. And even some of these are a lot more subtle to the point where the kids might not realize it at the time, but it's something that they're going to recognize moving forward. And I just really liked how this was done. This is one that if I were to have a classroom, I have let my teaching license lapse and I am not going back there again. But if I were to have a classroom again, this would be one that I would probably keep on the shelves for kids to read in downtime because it's fantastic, absolutely fantastic book. The ending, it got really bad. You can see I tabbed the hell of it up. I have handwritten notes in here. I normally try to write my notes on these clear Post-it notes so that I can take them out. See, it's transparent. So I can take them out if I want to get rid of the book. That went out the window. I did remember to use them sometimes, but like I just started straight up writing on the pages. And the last line of the book, I was putting notes. So like, great middle grade read. Cannot wait to get the next one in this series. I will probably pick it up sooner rather than later. I might go out and see if it's at the bookstore this weekend. I may order it at a later date, but absolutely stunning middle grade book. I highly, highly recommend this one as well. And the last book that I actually finished this morning, and it is an ARC. So, excuse me. There will be a full written review of this up on my Goodreads Storygraph and the blog, and there'll be an Instagram post to go along with it as well, as always. But that is Dead Country by Max Gladstone. This is the first book in a new series set in the same world with the same characters as his Craft sequence. I believe this one is the Craft Wars sequence. I'm not sure that the series name has left me. Absolutely stunning cover. It looks nothing like the original covers on the other series. But this is, on the book itself, it says it is a standalone tie-in series, insinuating perhaps that you can read this without having read the others. And I will say that yes, that is the case. However, just be prepared for the fact that this is a pre-established, not in this book, but it constantly references them, a pre-established cast of characters. We get Tara, who is the main character from the sequence before, as she is going back home to her hometown to her father's funeral, and how she gets embroiled in this dispute there, and how this ultimately actually has ties to both her past and her future and her friends and family and everything that's going on in the city where she actually resides and works. So she is constantly thinking about her compatriots, the people she's worked with and fought with previously. You get a lot of references to her past escapades in those other books. And I have read the first book in the original Craft sequence. Absolutely adored it. I do not have a good reason why I didn't finish the series, but I will be remedying that soon. I actually have some used copies of those books picked out online for very cheap, and I'm going to pick them up. I plan on rereading them, so thoughts will be coming about those. But having not completed the original series, I was able easily to read this, but I did have familiarity with the world, and it can be confusing. So just heads up there. You could dive in here, but I do think it is a little confusing to dive in here. So there's that. That being said, so recommended. Max Gladstone is an incredible writer, first off. His style can be dense, and it can be a little purple, but he is incredible. If you want to sample that, I would recommend How to Lose a Time War. He wrote that. The co-author's name has escaped me, and I'm sure I will remember it when I finish filming. I'll put it on the screen for a second. I would try that. It's a very good example of his writing style. This is just a much more novelized format. And this, as I said before, Tara has gone to her hometown where she fled several times. Previously, at least twice, she has left this hometown in various bad ways for her father's funeral. And this does indeed deal a lot with grief. The loss of a family member, finding yourself after fleeing from home. What does it mean to return home when home is not welcoming and perhaps the people there don't understand you, being different. And also, Tara takes a student, so it deals a lot with teaching another generation, be that as a student, or you could also consider that like teaching a child. I honestly saw a lot of a parent-teacher relationship almost there too. Not parent-teacher, but like a parent-child relationship there a little bit too, because of the situation with Tara and Dawn. And wow, and just, oh, I wish I could talk about it more, but I can't. Tara finds out how the actions of her past possibly had a hand in what's going on in her town and what happened to her father. And it is just a complicated, well executed, and masterful net. I love seeing an author who can set something up in a book 6 books before and bring it all back around again in such a beautiful way. He has done a fantastic job setting up this world and then like bringing it over here and making it all make sense. Don't pick this up if you've got a lot of existential dread because a big thing that the craft sequence ended on was Tara heard footsteps in the great beyond coming towards her world, and she believes that the world is ending, and she's trying to find a way to stop that. And that's not a huge spoiler, but like that is a big thing that's driving her, and you find out a lot more about that, and she's carrying that dread, and it's very real in her, that fear. Fear is a big thing that it talks about, and people taking advantage of other people. So big recommendation from me. Full thought with maybe more coherent, a full review with more coherent thoughts will be online, but big 5 stars for that one as well. Okay, so those are the books that there's a dice under my foot. Those are the books that I have read this week. Might also make a short for Dead Country. Might be a good idea. The books that I am getting ready to pick up, because I am right between finishing books and picking up new ones. I plan on, and I know it's not on my TBR, but it was on last month's TBR and it's short, so I should be able to read it quick, so don't come at me. Is Strike the Zephyr by Joan He. Hey? I need to look that up. I'm very, very excited about this. This book has been out for a little while, and every time I go to the bookstore, this is one of those books that it has a face out at my local bookstore, and I just stand there and I look at it because, wow, it's freaking pretty. But also, I absolutely loved the ones we were meant to find by this author, but also, it has, like, character art. How freaking cool is that? Oh, I love that. And a map for you map boys and girlies. But this is about a girl who is a strategist for a grand army of the Empress. This is a matriarchal society, as far as I recall. And some political something or another is going on with some wars. And she gets embroiled in that. Don't know details. Much like always, don't really want details. I am getting ready to pick up The Rise and Reign of the Mammals. I think I'm going to divide this up into chunks to read throughout the month and get it done quickly. Because I am past overdue for a review on this. But this one is on my TBR, so look at me go. And finally, my little library haul that I promised at the beginning, I thought I would go through real quick because I am very excited about these. I'll do let's do the middle grade graphic novel first. I think it's middle grade, might be YA. It's Crumbs by Danny Sterling. I've seen this everywhere. This is one of those webtoons turned traditionally published books. It has a very cute art style. Not like my favorite, but I still actually do like it. Very standard color style. The artwork is much like what you would see on other webtoons. It's not super stunning, but it is witchy. It's very cute, and I thought I would give it a go. The 2 YA books that I have out, I know nothing about this besides that the cover looks great, and I think it's fantasy or horror. The Buried and the Bound. The ornaments on the barren branches jangle dully as 1, 2, 3. Okay. A scream cut through the cheerful lit of the music, and then another and another. Yeah, it sounds pretty great. Sounds kind of spooky. We got some witchy looking vibes down here with these two guys. And she looks like she's ready to cause trouble, so I'm in. And then Friday, I'm in love. I've heard really good things about this. It is I'm assuming, sapphic. Yes, Mahila Harris's coming out party. You are cordially invited to. Rainbow attire encouraged. So, I don't say young girls coming out story. It looked great. It's got a lot of good hype online. I actually requested an arc of that and didn't get it, so I do want to read it. And finally, my 2 adult books. I did get into the Riverlands, as I mentioned in my tour.comathon TBR video. I will be reading this month, this series, and catching up on it because the next book is coming out soon, adjacent. And finally, the book that made my husband go, "That's a fiction book, right?" But it's not, is Dark Archives, a librarian's investigation into the science and history of books bound in human skin, which, this is by Megan Rosenblum. Sounds great to me. My friends think I'm a little strange sometimes because I love stuff like this, but I love stuff like this. The creepier and weirder, the more I want to know about it. I feel like I've read something. Yes, that author does sound familiar because she is a member of the Order of the Good Death, which is Caitlin Dowry. I don't know how to say her last name. The Ask a Mortician and Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. They work together, evidently. But this sounds great. He asked me if I had gotten anything good from the library when I went down to the children's section to meet him and my daughter. And I said, yeah, a book about books bound in human skin. And he just looked at me and said, that's fiction, right? I said, oh, no, absolutely not. So, little mini library haul. And that is what I've read and what I am currently reading. Let me know what you guys think. If you have read any of these things or you have plans to. Have you read The Craft Sequence? If you have, I recommend the new one. Oh my god, clearly. And I will talk to you guys again soon. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you later. Bye!